Hi everyone. My first question, English or German? Do we have any English speakers? Okay, so we do it in English tonight. Welcome for our roundtable, Drupal roundtable. We're happy to see so many faces tonight. We will start with two presentations. First of all, Sasha will give us a little introduction about the Drupal Admin UI Redesign. He has been contributing the last couple of months and he will give us some insights. And afterwards we'll have Kai and Jan who will be talking about a Drupal multi-store marketplace project, about the challenges, about the implementation they've been working on. And then we're thinking of doing a little roundtable, so if anyone has a topic, like a project or some contributions they would like to talk about, we can open that topic up, discuss within the circle, and then, yeah, in the end, don't run away because we're going to have some more beers, some apéro, and we can just have some more conversations. I have to do a little corporate information, so we will be taking some pictures. If anyone has problems with that, please let me know. Otherwise, yeah, just sit back, enjoy, and we will start with Sasha.
Hello, everyone. I will give you a brief introduction into what we're currently doing for the Drupal Admin UI, like the redesign and everything which is like in this ecosystem. So my name is Sasha Eckenberger. I'm a senior user experience designer at Unic. I'm Sasha Ecke at most social media profiles, so you can find me there. What I'm going to talk to you tonight is just like first the initiative. It's an official Drupal initiative, so just like a brief intro into that. Then the design team, so I'll quickly go through, because it's not just me, it's a team effort, so I want to show you the people behind. Then the Drupal design system, so basically we're currently working on a design system, so I want to show you what's going on there. Then the new Admin UI, so how does this thing look, or like currently look? It's not maybe the final state. And then what's next, so is that the only thing we do, or maybe there is something else beyond? So why are we doing this? Right, so this would be the question. I mean, it works, right? So Dries did a study of a lot of people, a lot of owners, and the most common response of this was Drupal's administration UI looks outdated. I think most of you would agree, right? So this is where this initiative came from. So it's the Admin UI and JavaScript Modernization initiative. Basically, like it has three parts. So there were like two initiatives in the beginning. They were merged together because we have a lot of common sense. So there is first the new JavaScript architecture, which they decided to go with React. So rebuilding the whole Drupal backend with React, going away from PHP, doing like a decoupled backend. I'm not going to talk anything about that. There is a great talk about this at Mountain Camp, if you're interested into that. Then there was the Drupal design system, which is basically the foundation for the new Admin UI. And the third part is the Admin UI itself. So basically this is just a wrap up. So in short term we plan to updating the current 7 theme, which is basically still used in 8, as you all know. So we're going to update this, but we won't call it 8 for some reasons. And then in the longer term, we are creating this new, completely new backend, which is decoupled. But this has currently a lot of issues and problems, and it takes a long time to do that, right? So it's more like in the next 3, 4, or 5 years. So it's not just immediately now. So in the meantime, we need to have a solution to update the UI. And that's why we did the whole initiative. So the faces behind, so I want to show you the design team. It's quite small. We're just 4 designers. So it's Christina, Dennis, Arkita, and me. We're working mostly in free time. We have some paid time, but mostly like in our free time, doing all the design stuff. But of course, there are many, many more people behind this. So just to name a few, we have a lot of front-enders involved who like starting to implement things or already doing implementation. Then we have like researchers, architects, like UX architects, and so on. So the list is really big. Also for the whole initiative, it's really big, but the design team is just like 4 people. The Drupal design system itself. So we put it down to components, right? So we took apart the whole administration UI and put everything together into components. So I want to briefly show you just a few components that you just see what I'm talking about. So also not the different levels. So we have like different buttons. Drupal has a lot of different buttons. So we're tackling this. Then we have like other buttons, right? So you're all familiar with this version of buttons. Then we have like this input field, which is basically like a select, but it's technically not a select in Drupal. We have vertical tabs, we have horizontal tabs, we have all kind of components, right? Tables, lists, and so on. So we're working on or reworking on everything. And specification is also a big deal because somebody needs to implement it, and without specification you cannot implement it, right? So this is how it currently looks. So like for each component, like every page you see here is a component. We have the full specification, which basically outlines colors, sizes, spaces, responsive behavior, different states like hover, active, focus, and so on. And then like the front-end developer, we just create like a ticket in the issue queue for each component, and then like a front-end developer takes this and goes through the documentation or the specification and starts working on implementing it. So the whole design system has a lot of definition. So basically like a big spacing contains smaller spacing in it. So there is like a whole system behind the details. But I want to, I don't want to go into the details of the design system itself because it's rather boring for you guys. Then we have like color definitions and everything you can imagine. So here we have like a bigger shot of like the documentation of the toolbar. And everything we do in Figma. So this is a web-based design tool. It's collaborative, so it looks like this. We can all work together from around the globe in this design. Every front-end developer has access to this, so basically it's open. You can see us working on this, or I do some strange things with my hand here. So we can discuss things online, and then we can do an implementation or change something or make a decision just within the tool. So I call this an open source design system because basically everybody can have access to this. You can duplicate this, you can use it for whatever you want in the end. And it's really easy. You just need to go to this URL and then you have access, right? So it's more like, yeah. I put it a bit down, so I created this bit.ly link. So if you want to have a look at it, so this would be the link. I can give you the link later, so you don't have to do a picture of it. The new admin UI. So I think this is what you want to hear, right? So how does this thing look? So this is it. This is the new admin UI. Oh no, I'm sorry. This is the current one. Maybe you don't know, but this is how Drupal looks. I know that most of you have the feeling that it looks like this, right? Because you all, or might, know Adminimal and using Adminimal, right? Who is using Adminimal? Yeah, a lot of people. So, as I mentioned earlier, the theme is not called 8, as you would, or 9. So it's clearly called Claro. Claro is just like in Catalan. I think it's Catalan, right? Or is it Spanish?
Spanish.
Okay, it's Spanish. Sorry. It means clear. That's right. Yeah. It means clear? Yes.
Okay. Check on that one.
Yes. The only Spanish word I know. The others I won't tell you because they're a bit offensive. So. I just show you some screenshots of what we're currently implementing and what things look like, but they're not in the final state, so there can be changes along the path. So this is the new installer. This is how the toolbar looks and works responsibly. this is a node form, like mobile and desktop. Then this is text formats and editors. This is just like a bunch of, like configure block, and then we have like a list view, like the content view, the performance tab, and many, many, many more, right? So basically it looks the same, you would say. It's just a bunch of other colors, right? So this was the goal of this initial project. As I told you before, like there are like 3 parts of this initiative, right? So there is the JavaScript initiative, or like the parts for the JavaScript modernization. Then we have the design system, and we have the new admin UI. So this is not the new admin UI. This is just the admin UI refresh. So as I told you, the whole project or the whole initiative takes a long time to implement, and you wouldn't see something for years. Basically what we did from Drupal 7 to 8, right? Because we wanted to have every feature in this new release, so it took a really long time to get it shipped. That's why we did this refresh, so we can get this out of the door quite quickly. But then, like the new admin UI, which I might show you later, maybe not, can just take some time, because I mean it needs a lot of work, and we do a lot of changes there. So one key focus was a better mobile experience. I mean, the current implementation works, but it's just not great. So we're taking a step here into optimizing what we currently have and optimizing it for mobile. But mobile is not the most important thing we're looking for, or why we're doing this design system. The most important thing is accessibility. So accessibility is important. So all the colors, all the measurements, all the design decisions are based on accessibility reviews. So if we design like a component, we will test it with people who have, like sights or other disabilities. And first and foremost, if we get or pass it through the door, and also the WCAG 2.0 guidelines, like AA is our goal at least, if not AAA is possible. So we really want to focus on accessibility here. So this was one, it looks really simple. We just have like a focus on items, but it took us like 3 or 4 weeks or even longer to get to this version. So like in the guidelines, and like what's really important is that you have a separate color which is not used in the UI, just for focus, and every focus should look the same. And this sounds really easy, right? So you just pick a random color and then you put it in a shape and then you're done. But it's not really that easy, because you have a lot of different UI elements in the backend, right? It can contain everything from tabs to accordions to details to links, buttons, and so on. So this sounds really exciting at this point, right? But your main question might be, but when will this ship? When will we see this, right? When can we have our hands on this? So there's a beta version coming in spring. I know it's
Spring.
almost spring, but spring is a long time, so maybe it's not the beginning, maybe it's the end of spring. No, there is a beta version coming. We have a pressure because we have a deadline. I won't tell you the deadline because I'm not sure if we can hold the deadline at this point. And then it will come as an experimental theme in Drupal Core 8.8. So like the timeline of the Drupal Core releases say that this would be December 4th, 2019. I just put December there just because of reasons. Like the main goal was to ship this with 8.7, but the problem is with all the accessibility tests, this takes a long, long time. And we want to do this right, so we want to focus on 8.8. I mean, this is all great, right? But we won't stop there. So this is not the only thing we do. You might say, what? So there is a new content editor experience coming. So, this is a long overdue. So also in the service we did it with all the big companies who use Drupal. There were over 15,000 people which did the survey. And the foremost thing what content editors from big companies like US government and so on, they just say the content editor experience in Drupal sucks. Just facts, right? I mean, you don't have like paragraphs in core and stuff. I mean, this can help a bit if we improve it, by the way. You know? So we're doing something like this. So these are just wireframes because we're not over the wireframe state here now, because we started with like the new Admin UI, and then we had this turnover to do this refresh of the current system. So we did a step back and doing old things in a new, you know, just like new clothes basically. But in the new Drupal universe, I'm just saying that like with the new React backend and like everything with this shiny new front-end related technologies, we want to achieve something which like other CMSs already have, right? So if you look at other CMS like WordPress, they have Gutenberg, and this is really a cool experience for some people, not for everybody. So how do we deal with that? So we don't want to replicate like Gutenberg, because a lot of people think it sucks as well. So the new Admin UI will have like two different content editor experiences. So you can either do something which is like block related, it's maybe like a bit like paragraphs if you would merge it with paragraph edit, so you can do inline editing, and then, or like other modules are out there which do like similar things. But then you can also go to a more classical way. So you have like your fields, and you can add paragraphs or whatever you want to use, like blocks or bricks, sorry. We want to provide you like all the different possibilities, right? We don't want to focus on say, okay, you have to use Gutenberg or like something related to Gutenberg, or maybe it's completely different, we don't know at this stage. We don't want to force people to use that, but we want to give you the possibility to do that. And for smaller sites, this is a really cool thing because it's so easy to edit, right? So you can do in-page editing, and also you can drag and drop things, and it's intuitive and it looks nice, and yeah. So this is just like a hybrid idea. So you can drag and drop things, and you can move them around, and you can like inline edit and do everything you want. This looks a bit more exciting, right? But we don't know yet. So that's what I said, right? We don't know where the journey goes. We have ideas. We discuss a lot with Dries about this, where the journey should go, and what we should implement and what not, and if this belongs to core or not. There are a lot of decisions which needs to be made, but this is just like a bit of an outlook for the future. So, we need help. We need a lot of front-end developers to get on board to at least ship this Claro theme on time. So if there are any front-end developers in the room who want to help, go over to drupal.org project Claro. You can just find me and ask me, and I can help you, and we can have a chat about like the help you can maybe provide to ship this out of the door. If you want to hear more about the whole process we did, I mean, like all the surveys I just mentioned, like how much time and effort and what was the outcome of surveys, and also to see maybe a bit more a deep dive into these wireframes, what the new Drupal looks like in the future. We will have a talk, like Christine and I will have a talk at Drupal Mountain Camp. It's called The Current State of the Drupal Admin UI, and we will give you a bit more a deep dive into this whole initiative. So, that's the quick thing. Hope it wasn't too long. So, do you have any questions for me? Glad to answer your questions. No questions?
Will the current inline editing experience also be improved?
Yes.
Because this is poor.
Not improved. It will be merged. So, or it will be different. So basically, we're trying to do like all the efforts which goes into this project currently. I mean, there are new things coming for the inline editor experience. So basically this will be merged or transformed to this new system. Yeah.
Or improved in a short term in the first release you have.
Might be that it's not part of this initiative to do the short term improvements for that. But we're looking more into how this thing should work and behave in the future.
Okay.
Yes. Other questions? Well, yes.
Why are you only talking about redesign and then related to Gutenberg? Gutenberg is not only a redesign, it's a totally new approach to manage stuff. And so my feelings are that people often talk about Gutenberg but want to go their own way, but it should be fancy and a new approach as Gutenberg is. And so why you guys talking, I'm sorry, I'm a front-end engineer by the way, so why are you guys talking about redesign and not about a totally new approach?
We do. You didn't listen to my talk then. Because I did say that we have three parts of this initiative. One is the design system, one is the short-term delivery of the redesign, and the long-term is this new content editor experience. And this new content editor experience is the new backend, which is basically rewritten in React and has a new experience how you interact with Drupal and how you manage your content. So this is basically part of the third part. Yeah.
How are you handling the issues for the Drupal Admin UI refresh?
Yes.
Is it just on Drupal Core, and is it tagged with a specific label? Or
Yeah, we started out because it was a hassle in the beginning, so we started out on a GitHub repo. We currently merged it to the Drupal org issue queue. So it has different labels and everything in there. So basically, we have different states for tickets. So like just the usual open, need for review, help, whatever. So in there, it's completely structured of the specification where you can find the specifications, or they're already inlined. What is the issue, where you find this component, and what needs to be rewritten or what needs to be updated. So it's all in the issues itself. Yes.
Is there any backend help required? Any PHP backend?
Currently, we have enough backend developers, as the Drupal community provides a lot of backend resources, but not design and front-end resources. So Laurie is currently taking hands on all the backend related stuff. But yeah, I mean, you could reach out to him if you want to contribute, of course. Other questions? Well then, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this short intro of the Admin UI redesign.